The government has suspended 30 of the UK's 350 arms export licenses to Israel. It's a decision that the chief rabbi says beggars belief and will encourage our shared enemies.
This is a serious issue. We either comply with international law or we don't. And we only have strength in our arguments because we comply with international law. I appreciate the party opposite didn't think that international law mattered. And that's why they got into their difficulty thing.
So that's interesting. That's a good step in the right direction. So they're saying that there's 350 licenses for arms dealers to sell weapons to Israel to carry on with their genocide. But the United Kingdom has suspended 30 of those 350 licenses. And as this police officer says right here, in a different case, there's no reason to murder innocent kids. Right, Mr. Officer?
When you murder innocent children, there's no excuse for it.
There's no excuse for it. Exactly. There's absolutely no excuse. Here's just another thing that's going on in southern St. Louis. There's a smash and grab. So some people had smashed this Barnett's Market, smashed the window, and took a bunch of the stuff that was inside the store. Now, the thing that I want to talk about is this incident that had happened in Indiana and Illinois. It was on the border of Indiana and Illinois. And there's a lot of tributes to this man, Brandon Schreiber. So Brandon Schreiber was a police officer, and he's pursuing this other guy. And he's going to get shot and killed. Both of these guys are going to get shot and killed. Now, there was a report that said that he was chasing the guy and that he had a hostage. But it turned out there was no hostage. So why were you chasing him? What was the original thing? Why was the chase happening? Here's the other guy. The other guy is Andrew Roselius. So Andrew Roselius is driving in Indiana, and then Brandon Schreiber, I think, begins or starts the chase, and then there's more people chasing, and then there's a crash or it ends, and then there's a shootout. And he's going to get shot and killed, and then he's going to get shot and killed. So you're going to have two deaths. You're going to have two people who died. And now I'm going to talk about the details of this case. Because this details of this case it's wild. When I first came across it, I really want to believe that the police did some good things. They did some good things. I really want to believe that. I don't want to honor the police officer, but the more I kept reading into it, the more it didn't seem like it was exactly as it was being presented. So a Newton County, Indiana sheriff's officer is in critical condition. He's the one that's going to die. He was shot in the line of duty while assisting the Iroquois County, Illinois Sheriff's Office on Sunday night. Newton County Sheriff's Office Corporal Brandon Schreiber was shot by the suspect who was shot and killed in the incident. There's a presumption of innocence, right? Just because police officers are chasing somebody, well, hell, you could just chase, Martin Luther King. You could just chase Anne Frank. And if you just come at them like real scary like, why wouldn't they take off? So they say the suspect, too, was shot and killed in the incident. So you've got the presumption of innocence, and you have to be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Brandon Schreiber, they said, as a 5-year veteran of the Department, Illinois State Police, which is leading the investigation, released details of the incident on Monday. According to the ISP, I guess that's Illinois State Police, preliminary reports indicate that officers from the Iroquois County Sheriff's Office were engaged in a pursuit of an armed suspect with a hostage Sunday evening. So armed, you got the Second Amendment. They are armed, right? Brandon Schreiber is armed, and Andrew Roselius of Clifton, Illinois, is armed as well. The pursuit crossed into Indiana, and then that's when the Newton County Sheriff's Office joined the pursuit. Then the pursuit came back into Illinois, according to the ISP, and the suspect crashed in Sheldon. The suspect then exited his vehicle, and I've read like 5 different articles, and they only have the vaguest information possible. They say gunfire was exchanged. Well, who's shooting at who? Who's shooting at who? The guy's running, he crashes. Did the cops just start shooting, dude? Well, we was chasing him, and he ran, and so, clearly he must have been doing something. Or maybe he's just afraid of, a police state with a bunch of guns that just want to. So the 37-year-old Andrew Roselius of Clifton, Illinois was pronounced dead at the scene, ISP says. No hostage was located inside the vehicle. Now that's pretty important, it seems like they're chasing this guy. It's an armed suspect and he's got a hostage, everybody. This Andrew Roselius, he's armed, he's got a hostage. Well, we got to chase him. We got to chase him, and you need to get this county in, you need to get this county in. I wonder how many police officers are actually on the scene. And is this in rural Indiana? Because we're just talking counties here. Newton County, and then we're talking the county of Illinois. If initially you chased the dude because the report came in that he had a hostage, and then later on you found out he didn't have a hostage, well, he got swatted. You just chased an innocent person and then started shooting at him. Dude's like scared to death, running away, don't know what the hell's even happening. He's just having a nice Sunday drive, just going through the meadow, just looking at the mountains and looking at the golden majesty, Purple Mountain's majesty, just looking at the beauty of Indiana and Illinois. You got a governor's race right now in Indiana too. Jennifer McCormick versus Mike Braun. So Andrew Roselius of Clifton, Illinois is going to be pronounced dead at the scene. There was no hostage. So if you started chasing dude because there was a hostage report and later on you killed dude and there was no hostage, then that means you just killed an innocent man. You're not proving to me beyond a reasonable doubt that he was doing any kind of crime whatsoever. What probable cause did you have to engage pursuit? What was even the reason why you engaged with this gentleman? An officer shot the suspect, 37-year-old Andrew Roselius of Clifton. He was pronounced dead on the scene. Then they said Andrew Roselius shot Newton County Sheriff's Department deputy who was transported to Iroquois Memorial Hospital before being flown to the Carly Trauma Center. And that's all we know. That's the entire story. That is not the entire story. There is so much more to this story. Now you might say, well, I'm sure this guy has a notorious record. I'm sure this Andrew Robert Roselius is just a terrible person, probably into gangbanging and drugs and doing smash and grabs. Maybe he was the one that was in the southern Missouri town that did a smash and grab. Andrew Robert Roselius, 37 of Clifton, Illinois, passed away suddenly September 1st. This is from a funeral home website. Passed away suddenly, born on June 5th, 1987 to Tom and Deb Nelson Roselius. Andy was a dedicated farmer and a respected first responder and a loving family man. What? You killed a family man? You killed a first responder? A first responder, so an EMS guy or a police officer? And a farmer? Well, this doesn't sound like he's a gangbanging, rapist, murderer, and it doesn't seem like he's a maiming, torturing. It doesn't sound like he's doing any kind of violent crimes to anybody. Who's he injuring? Who did he injure? From a young age, Andrew Roselius dreamed of continuing his family's farming legacy. He took over the family farm south of Crescent City, Illinois, which had been in the family for over a century. He said that his job was to feed the world. So he wants to feed the world? These are all good things. In 2016-17, he was honored as a soybean ambassador by the Illinois Soybean Association. Well, that puts him in a bind now, doesn't it? Is the Soybean Association of Illinois, are they going to distance themselves from Andrew Roselius? Because you have a whole bunch of accolades for the Brandon Schreiber thing. And so right is right and wrong is wrong. Let's get to the truth. There's dash cameras, there's video cameras, there's eyewitness testimonies. There's lapel cameras, there's 911 phone call. There's a lot of evidence that could be shown to say that this guy needed to be pursued. He was committing these crimes. It said he passed away suddenly. He had a hostage, but he didn't have a hostage. He's got a hostage. Showcasing his expertise through national and international trips. So Andrew Roselius, a dedicated farmer, family man, respected first responder, a soybean ambassador, is going to get gunned down. And the original reason that he had a hostage turned out to be bullshit. There was no hostage. And then we saw just in New Hampshire how the father had the son in the back seat or something. They opened fire, and they're not telling us what happened with that case either. Is that what this is? Is it some sort of, like, it's not really kidnapping if it's your own kid. Now, is it? Kidnapping is a complete stranger, kidnapping. There was some case in Mississippi or Tennessee or some shit. Some random ass person saw a kid by themselves and then they took him. That's a kidnapping. A father or mother having some domestic, some family issues. Andy also raised beef cattle, later worked as a crop specialist in Heritage FS in Gilman, Illinois. He's known for his warm and friendly demeanor. So you murdered a guy that has a warm and friendly demeanor, a farmer, a first responder, a family man. Andy was a first responder for nearly 20 years. So they want to say that he was a police officer for 5 years. That makes him a 5-year veteran. Well, Andrew Roselius is a 20-year veteran of being a first responder. He served as an engineer paramedic with the Bradley Fire Department from 2007 to 2013. And he is a longtime volunteer at the Crescent Iroquois Fire Protection District, where he achieved the rank of captain. He was dedicated to educating local students about fire safety. He met his wife, Terry, during their time together at the Bradley Fire Department. So he's a firefighter. He's a farmer, firefighter, loving family man, soybean ambassador. Andrew Roselius was deeply devoted to his wife, Terry, and children, Owen and Cora. He took immense pride in Owen's intelligence and baseball skills and cherished Cora, whose birth he considered the happiest day of his life. Uncle Andy was adored by nieces and nephews. He's playful and played guitar with his band Flat Jacket, listening to Green Day. I want to be the minority. He's survived by his wife, Terry Downs Roselius, and children Owen and Cora, and then parents and father-in-law and cousins, uncles, nieces, nephews. He's a family man. He's got a wife. And he's got 2 kids. How are they going to survive now? Does she got a job? And then how are they going to survive without their father? You want to talk about the black community having single-parent households? You just turned this household into a single-parent household. Owen and Cora. Owen and Cora now does not have a father. So, what the hell? Like, what the hell, man? What's the full story? How come we're not being told the full story here? You're just going to tell me that the police were chasing dude, they shot dude, and the thing that you thought he was being chased for turned out to be not true at all. And it turns out he's a good man, a first responder, a firefighter, soybean ambassador, dedicated farmer and loving family man, and you're telling me he deserved to die? I don't believe you. I don't believe he deserved to die. I think something went down. I think some bullshit went down. Here's the last thing. Andrew Roselius, so it's on this watchusgrow.org. Farmer, dad, environmentalist. 2 of his top priorities are sustainability and food safety. I shop at the same grocery stores, make the same food decisions as every consumer out there. I want my family to be healthy and happy, both short and long term. As a farmer, the land is like a part of my family. We nurture and care for it so it can continue to provide for generations to come. I work with the Farm Service Agency and Natural Resource Conservation Service, so he cares about wildlife, and he's a conservative when it comes to the environment. Reduced tillage, started using precision technology, planted cover crops on his farm. Becoming a farmer, he learned most of what he knows about farming from his father. He wasn't sure whether he wanted to farm as a career, and then he rented him 160 acres in 2010, and he helped him on the farm since he was a little boy, renting him some acres. You got 160 acres, why don't you give him freaking 10 acres of his own? Jesus Christ. His father's got 1 million damn acres, and he's sitting there making him a tenant farmer. But after making the leap and farming some of my own acres, I was hooked. I found more acres of my own, left my job as a firefighter to farm full-time 3 years. He loves being his own boss, and he knows that his success depends on the decision that he makes and the work of his own hands. It's important for me to be involved in the community. A lot of rural services and institutions depend on volunteers. I believe that it is my duty as a rural resident to lend a hand, so I'm active with the local volunteer fire department, my church, and the local drainage district. So he's a Christian on top of everything else. On top of all the rest, he's also a Christian. I mean, I got this Bible passage here that I was going to read in a separate video, but if I got some time, I'll read it right now. So let's go ahead and read from the book of John. Chapter 8, the book of John. I gave a tribute to the Brandon Schreiber, so now I'm going to give a tribute to Roselius. So, the book of John, chapter 8. The book of John, chapter 8. And I'm going to read a little bit beforehand just to get the idea of what's going on. I think. Yes. No. Wait! This isn't the right Bible. I got just so many damn Bibles here. The book of John. Here we go. This is really the prophet. Others said, this is the Christ. But some said, is the Christ to come from Galilee? Has not the scripture said that the Christ is descended from David and comes from Bethlehem, the village where David was? So there was a division among the people over Jesus Christ. Some of them wanted to arrest him, but no one laid hands on him. The officers then went back to the chief priests and Pharisees, who said to them, why did you not bring him? The officers answered, no man ever spoke like this man. I've never heard anybody talk like Jesus. You want me to arrest this man? The Pharisees answered them, are you led astray? You also have any of the authorities or of the Pharisees believed in him? But this crowd who do not know the law are accursed. Nicodemus, who had gone to him before and who was one of them, said to them, does our law judge a man without first giving him a hearing and learning what he does? They replied, are you from Galilee too? Search and you will see that no prophet is to rise from Galilee. Again, Jesus spoke to him, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. The Pharisees then said to him, you are bearing witness to yourself. Your testimony is not true. So this is the book of John, chapter 8, beginning. Jesus responded, even if I do bear witness to myself, my testimony is true. For I know whence I have come and whither I am going. But you do not know whence I come or whither I am going. You judge according to the flesh. I judge no one, yet even if I do sometimes judge, my judgment is true. For it is not I alone that judge, but I and he who sent me. Jesus carries on. In your law is written that the testimony of two men is true. I bear witness to myself, and the Father who sent me bears witness to me. They said to him, therefore, where is your Father? Jesus answered, you know neither me nor my Father. If you knew me, you would know my Father also. These words he spoke in the treasury as he taught in the temple. But no one arrested him because his hour had not yet come. Again he said to them, I go away and you will seek me and die in your sin. Where I am going and you cannot come. It's interesting. Jesus' hour has not yet come. So Andrew Roselius' hour has come. And then listen to the questions that they're asking of Jesus. Then he said to the Jews, will he kill himself since he cannot? Where I am going, you cannot come. He said to them, Jesus says, you are from below and I am from above. You are of this world. I am not of this world. I told you that you would die in your sins, for you will die in your sins unless you believe that I am he. They said to him, who are you? Jesus said to them, even what I have told you from the beginning. I have much to say about you and much to judge, but he who sent me is true, and I declare to the world what I have heard from him. They did not understand that he spoke to them of the Father. So Jesus said, when you have lifted up the Son of Man, then you will know that I am he, and that I do nothing on my own authority, but speak thus as the Father taught me. And he who sent me is with me. He has not left me alone, for I always do what is pleasing to him. As he spoke thus, many believed in him. Jesus then said to the Jews who had believed in him, if you continue in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You will know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. That comes from the book of John, chapter 8. And Jesus was a Jew. So Jesus comes out of Judaism. They answered him, "We are descendants of Abraham and have never been in bondage to anyone. How is it that you say you will be made free?" Jesus answered them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who commits sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not continue in the house forever. The son continues forever. So if the Son makes you free, you will be free indeed. I know that you are descendants of Abraham, yet you seek to kill me,